Comfort and relaxation are the strongest signals of real enjoyment, and that comfort doesn't appear out of thin air. It is created moment by moment through consistency, respect, tone, and presence. A relaxed body is a body that does not feel rushed. It does not feel watched or judged. It does not feel like it has to perform. It feels allowed to simply be. When a woman is comfortable, her mind is not running through a list of worries or expectations. She is not thinking about how she looks, how she sounds, or what she is supposed to do next. She is feeling instead of analyzing, responding instead of monitoring. That is the true beginning of genuine pleasure. So ask yourself, what does comfort really look like? It looks like shoulders dropping instead of tightening. It looks like unclenched hands. It looks like a steady, warmer presence rather than a guarded silence. It looks like trust in the person who is close to her, trust that she is not being used, judged, pressured, or measured against an invisible standard. Without comfort, the body is in defense mode. And a body that is defending itself cannot fully enjoy anything, no matter how perfect the external actions may seem. Relaxation is not about a single moment. It is about what happens before that moment ever begins. It is in how you speak to her, how you listen, how you allow her to decide, how you give her space to say yes or no without consequence. Real enjoyment does not live where pressure exists. It lives where freedom lives. And that freedom isn't something you demand. It is something you give. Another sign that follows comfort is presence. When a woman is enjoying an experience, she is not drifting away mentally. She is not checked out. She is not thinking of errands, past conversations, or future problems. She is here, fully. You can feel presence without a single word being spoken. It is a type of energy exchange, a quiet, undeniable awareness of connection. Presence is when time seems to slow down, when there is no rush to reach the next moment, when the body responds naturally instead of being told what to do. In many modern relationships, presence is one of the rarest gifts. We live in a world of distractions, endless notifications, constant comparison, constant pressure. So when two people share a moment of full attention, of true emotional and physical availability, it becomes powerful. It becomes memorable. And that kind of presence is a clear sign of enjoyment, because no one gives their full attention to something that does not move them. You can't fake presence. The mind either is, or it is somewhere else. And when a woman chooses to stay in the moment with you, that is a sign of more than pleasure. It is a sign of connection, safety, and mutual energy. Another obvious indicator is responsiveness. When something feels good, the body naturally responds. Not in an exaggerated way, not in a rehearsed way, but in a subtle, honest way. A shift in breathing, a change in rhythm, a gentle movement, a deeper stillness. These are unconscious responses. They happen because the mind does not want to interrupt the feeling. The body is following the sensations without needing instructions. What many people misunderstand is that enjoyment is not always loud. Sometimes it is very, very quiet. Sometimes the deepest enjoyment is almost meditative. It is internal, it is soft, it is slow. And the problem is, people have been taught by movies and unrealistic content to expect extreme reactions as the only proof of pleasure. But real life does not work like that. Real pleasure is often subtle, calm, and grounded. It is peaceful. A woman enjoying herself is not trying to impress. She is not thinking of how she appears. She is not turning the moment into a performance. She is being authentic, and authenticity is the purest proof there is. There is also a shift that happens in the eyes, a softness, a different kind of focus. Sometimes the eyes close because she is turning inward, focusing on sensation, emotion, energy. Sometimes her gaze is steady because she is present and connected. Either way, it is different from distraction, different from boredom, different from discomfort. The eyes reveal comfort long before the mouth ever speaks. And then there is the emotional sign. When pleasure is real, there is a layer of emotion that comes with it. It may be subtle, but it is there. A kind of vulnerability, a deeper openness, a relaxation that goes beyond the body and enters the heart. This is why intimacy is not just physical. It is emotional exposure. It is allowing another person to be close enough to affect you. When a woman is truly enjoying an experience, she is opening emotionally, whether she realizes it or not. This is why respect matters so deeply, not just during the act, but before and after. How you treat her when the moment is over tells her whether the experience was valued or just consumed. A gentle touch, kind words, or even a shared silence shows that the connection didn't end just because the moment did. That aftercare, that emotional acknowledgement, is often what determines whether the experience will be remembered as beautiful or not. Enjoyment isn't isolated to the body. It is stored in memory. So the way you make her feel afterward is just as important as what happens during. Does she feel appreciated? Does she feel cared for? Does she feel like she shared something meaningful rather than being used for a moment of pleasure? These questions shape how the mind labels the experience. Books like The Gift of Fear remind us how deeply intuition is tied to the body. The body knows when something is safe and when it is not. The body knows when something feels right or wrong. A woman does not have to consciously analyze every detail to know whether she is enjoying something or merely enduring it. Her body knows, and that truth cannot be hidden, not even from herself. That's why one of the most obvious signs of her enjoyment is that she does not hurry the moment. There is no urgency to reach the end, no sense of impatience. When something feels good, time becomes unimportant. When something does not feel good, time becomes very important. You start thinking about when it will be over. You become aware of every second passing. But in real enjoyment, time almost disappears. Minutes feel like seconds, or seconds feel like minutes. There is a distortion, a sense of floating. And finally, the deepest sign is emotional openness afterward. When a woman feels truly satisfied in a moment of intimacy, she does not immediately build walls again. There is a softness in her voice. There is ease in her body language. There is comfort in her presence. Even if no words are spoken about what happened, the energy of closeness remains. That is the real measure, not the act itself, but what it leaves behind. And the most important thing to understand is this: pleasure is not taken. It is given, it is received, it is shared. You cannot force it, teach it, or demand it. You can only create the conditions where it feels safe enough to grow. So if you truly want to understand when she is enjoying herself, stop obsessing over technique and start paying attention to her comfort, her body language, her emotional state, her energy before, during, and after. Because when she is at ease, when she is present, when she is connected, when she is open, when she is relaxed, that is the loudest, most obvious sign of them all, and it will never need to be questioned. Authentic reactions can't be faked. The body always tells the truth. And this is something so many people underestimate. You can try to control expressions, exaggerate gestures, or mimic responses, but the body is far more honest than the mind. It doesn't lie. It doesn't rehearse. It communicates what is real before the conscious brain even gets involved. Every subtle shift in posture, every breath that deepens or quickens, every change in muscle tension or release is a message that cannot be manufactured. And the beauty of this truth is that when you learn to read it, you gain insight into what is genuinely being experienced in the moment. Think about it. Our bodies evolved to respond to pleasure, danger, comfort, and connection long before we developed language. Our nervous system does not lie. When something feels good, your body reacts automatically. When something doesn't, your body signals it just as quickly. A twitch, a hesitation, a sudden rigidity, these are not accidents. They are the language of truth, and just as the body signals discomfort before the mind fully processes it, it also signals enjoyment in ways that are unmistakable, subtle, perhaps, but undeniably honest. This is why authenticity matters more than technique. It is not about trying to make someone respond in a particular way. It is about creating an environment where real reactions can happen. The difference between a fake response and an authentic one is energy. Fake responses require effort. Authentic responses flow naturally. They emerge without thinking. They are spontaneous, and when you witness authenticity, It is impossible to ignore. You feel it in the rhythm, in the flow, in the way presence fills the space between two people. Another way to understand this is through observation. Notice how a genuine reaction changes over time. It builds, ebbs, flows. It is dynamic, not static. It can be measured not just in movement, but in attention, in emotional connection, in small sounds, in pauses that speak volumes. A fake reaction is flat. It is consistent in a way that feels unnatural because the body is trying to maintain a mask. An authentic reaction, however, is alive. It has variation. It has nuance. It responds to shifts in touch, in tone, in energy. It is responsive, not rehearsed. And authenticity does not only reveal itself physically, it shows itself emotionally. When someone is genuinely enjoying something, their emotional expression aligns with their physical response. There is congruence between what is felt inside and what is displayed outside. A smile, a laugh, a breath, a glance, all these combine into a coherent language of enjoyment. When someone tries to fake it, the inconsistency between body and emotion is perceptible. Subtle micro-expressions, fleeting gestures, tiny hesitations, these betray pretense. The body refuses to lie completely because it is always listening to the internal state. This is why paying attention to authenticity is so crucial in any intimate experience. You cannot rely solely on words. You cannot rely solely on instruction or feedback. You must pay attention to the signals the body sends because those signals are unfiltered. They tell the truth of what is being experienced. And learning to recognize them is a skill that benefits more than intimacy. It teaches empathy, presence, and deep understanding of human connection. The power of authentic reactions also lies in their unpredictability. They cannot be fully anticipated, controlled, or manufactured. They are alive in the moment, and this unpredictability is part of what makes genuine pleasure so remarkable. You cannot script it. You cannot demand it. You can only create conditions where the body feels free enough to respond naturally. When authenticity emerges, it brings depth, richness, and vitality to the experience, a layer of meaning that no technique or strategy could ever replicate. Even more, authentic reactions create trust. They signal safety not only for the person expressing them, but also for the one observing. When you witness someone's body telling the truth, you gain a window into their experience. You gain the ability to respond in a way that honors that experience, and this responsiveness, this capacity to meet someone in their truth, is what deepens connection. It is what transforms an encounter from a physical act into an exchange of presence, energy, and emotional resonance. Books like Come As You Are remind us that the human nervous system responds to context as much as it responds to touch. Authentic pleasure is never just about the physical mechanics. It is about emotional safety, trust, and connection. The body cannot lie about those things. It responds instinctively to what feels safe, to what feels good, to what feels real. And when the body is free to respond authentically, you witness the true measure of enjoyment, a measure that no words or pretense could ever convey. There is another layer to this truth. The more someone allows themselves to respond authentically, the more their enjoyment deepens. Authenticity is both signal and amplifier. By being genuine in their reactions, the body creates feedback loops that heighten awareness, pleasure, and emotional connection. It is not just a passive indicator. It is an active participant in the experience. The body speaks, and the more honestly it speaks, the more the mind and heart align with that sensation, creating a cascade of authentic experience. And yet, authenticity requires trust. It requires the understanding that reactions will not be judged, controlled, or manipulated. A body can only tell the truth when it feels safe. This is why emotional and relational context matter as much as physical technique. True enjoyment is always relational. It arises in environments where the mind feels free, where the heart feels safe, and where the body can respond without interference. When those conditions exist, the signals are obvious. They are unmistakable. They cannot be faked. They cannot be ignored. Finally, recognizing authentic reactions is not just about observation. It is about listening, not with the ears alone, but with awareness, not with intention to manipulate, but with intention to connect. When you see the alignment of emotion, movement, breath, and presence, you are witnessing the body's truth. And when you honor that truth, you create an environment where pleasure is not only possible but inevitable. Emotional safety is as powerful as physical technique, and in many ways, it is even more important. You can have all the knowledge in the world about what to do, all the guidance from books or videos, all the strategies or tricks, and yet if a woman does not feel emotionally safe, the experience will fall flat. Physical technique alone cannot create connection. Physical technique alone cannot create trust. Physical technique alone cannot allow someone to truly let go and enjoy themselves. Pleasure is never just mechanical. It lives in the space where the body and mind meet, and that space is profoundly shaped by emotional safety. So, what is emotional safety? It is the knowledge that she will not be judged for how she reacts. It is the understanding that her boundaries will be respected, that her comfort matters, that her autonomy is honored. Emotional safety is not about controlling her experience. It is about supporting her in feeling free to respond authentically. Without it, every movement, every gesture, every breath can be overshadowed by tension, anxiety, or self-consciousness. And when tension exists, enjoyment cannot flourish. Emotional safety is created in small, intentional actions that may seem invisible at first. The tone of your voice, the way you listen, the patience you show, the care you take to observe her responses without pressure. It is consistency. It is reliability. It is presence. It is saying in every action and every moment, you are seen. You are valued. You are safe. And when a woman senses this deeply, she begins to relax. She begins to trust. She begins to give herself permission to feel, to respond, to fully inhabit the experience. What many people overlook is that emotional safety directly amplifies physical sensation. When the mind is calm and the heart feels secure, the body can respond without restraint. When the mind is racing with worries, am I doing this right? Does he like this? Am I supposed to react differently? The nervous system tightens, muscles brace, and the ability to enjoy diminishes. Pleasure requires surrender, and surrender requires trust. Emotional safety is the foundation on which that surrender can happen. Without it, physical skill is like trying to plant a seed in barren soil. Another key aspect of emotional safety is non-judgment. The moment someone fears judgment, they retreat. They stop being honest with their reactions, they hold back, they perform. Authentic enjoyment cannot exist in performance. It requires permission to simply be, and permission is not given through words alone. It is given through energy, through consistency, through responsiveness that communicates respect for who she is in that moment. When she feels safe to be imperfect, to be human, to be real, the reactions you witness are authentic and unmistakable. Emotional safety is also about anticipation and awareness. It is noticing signs of discomfort before they escalate. It is responding not with frustration, impatience, or criticism, but with care. It is understanding that pleasure is a dance, not a transaction. It is knowing that every person has their own rhythm, their own limits, their own comfort zones, and honoring those boundaries without hesitation. That respect, in turn, allows the nervous system to relax. It allows her body to respond without fear, and it allows her mind to focus on sensation instead of self-protection. Books like Come As You Are emphasize that the emotional context of intimacy often outweighs technique. Sexual response is deeply tied to perception of safety, connection, and trust. The brain does not separate emotion from sensation. Anxiety dampens pleasure. Comfort enhances it. Presence amplifies it. Awareness deepens it. Emotional safety is the invisible hand that allows the body to follow naturally. When she feels emotionally secure, even the smallest gestures are magnified in effect. The subtlety becomes powerful. The gentle becomes electric. Another important dimension of emotional safety is patience. True pleasure is rarely instantaneous. It builds over time, layer by layer. Rushing, pressuring, or forcing a response disrupts trust and destroys emotional safety. Patience communicates value, that the person matters, that the experience is about connection, not just outcome. It allows the woman to arrive fully in the moment, to explore, to respond, to express without fear. And when patience is present, emotional safety flourishes. The nervous system relaxes, the body responds, the mind opens, and pleasure becomes inevitable, not forced. Emotional safety also transforms after the experience. What happens once the moment is over communicates more than any technique ever could. Gentle words, acknowledgement of her experience, absence of judgment, and continued presence signal that the connection is not transactional, that the shared moment was meaningful, that she is valued beyond a physical response. This post-experience care reinforces safety and trust, making future intimacy deeper and more fulfilling. Emotional safety, therefore, is continuous. It does not begin and end with an act. It is woven through every interaction, every touch, every glance, every moment of attention. The interplay between emotional safety and physical technique is critical. Physical technique becomes a tool, a language, a medium for connection, but it is most effective when emotional safety is already established. Without it, technique may produce temporary response, but not genuine enjoyment. With it, technique is amplified, refined, and deeply felt. It is no longer just about mechanics, it is about resonance. It becomes an expression of care, a conversation of energy, a dialogue between mind, body, and heart. Emotional safety also allows for vulnerability, which is the gateway to authentic pleasure. When a person feels safe enough to be vulnerable, they can let go of self, consciousness, fear, and protective tension. They can engage fully, respond authentically, and communicate naturally. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is trust, and trust is the foundation upon which every authentic moment of connection and enjoyment is built. In practical terms, emotional safety is cultivated through listening as much as doing. It is recognizing that every micro-expression, every pause, every subtle shift in breathing or gaze is meaningful. It is responding with attentiveness rather than expectation. It is prioritizing her experience over performance. It is valuing the emotional journey as much as the physical one. When these principles guide your interactions, the body will follow naturally. The nervous system will relax. Authentic reactions will emerge. Enjoyment will flourish. Ultimately, emotional safety is the quiet force that transforms intimacy. It is invisible but palpable. It is subtle but powerful. It is the difference between mechanical performance and profound connection. It allows pleasure to arise naturally, without pressure, without force, without pretense. When a woman feels emotionally safe, her body can tell the truth. Her mind can surrender. Her heart can open. And the experience becomes not just physical, but deeply human, deeply relational, and profoundly satisfying. Rhythm, breath, and sound are natural indicators of pleasure, and they are far more revealing than any words or gestures we might consciously produce. They are spontaneous, involuntary, and authentic. They are the body's way of signaling satisfaction, connection, and enjoyment signals that cannot be faked for long. When someone is truly present and feeling pleasure, their rhythm changes. It becomes aligned with the experience itself, subtle yet unmistakable. The body finds a flow that reflects the internal state, an unconscious harmony between sensation, emotion, and attention. Breath is one of the most powerful indicators. Breathing is not just a biological necessity, it is a window into the nervous system. When someone is relaxed and enjoying themselves, their breath deepens, lengthens, and sometimes quickens in response to heightened sensation. These changes happen without conscious effort. When someone is tense, anxious, or uncomfortable, the breath becomes shallow, erratic, or hesitant. But when they are in pleasure, the breath is expansive. It moves naturally, rhythmically, and in harmony with the moment. Listening to and observing breath gives insight into how present someone is, how engaged they are, and how safe they feel. Rhythm is another subtle but powerful indicator. The body has its own natural cadence, and pleasure often brings it to the surface. Movements become more fluid, responsive, and attuned to the moment. There is a pulse, a flow, a timing that feels effortless and connected. It is not mechanical or deliberate. It emerges organically from enjoyment. This rhythm can be observed in small gestures, shifts in posture, subtle movements, or the way the body leans or adjusts. Rhythm reflects alignment between mind, body, and emotional state. When it is present, it signals that the person is fully immersed in the experience. Sound, too, is a natural, involuntary indicator of pleasure. Sound does not have to be loud or exaggerated to be meaningful. It can be the change in tone of a breath, a soft exhale, a sigh, or even a pause that communicates more than words ever could. Sound is part of the body's language, a way of expressing what is being felt internally. Unlike words, it cannot be faked easily. It carries honesty, vulnerability, and authenticity. It signals engagement and presence. The absence of sound can be just as telling. Silence can reflect focus, absorption, and immersion, a state where the mind is fully present and unself-conscious. These three elements, rhythm, breath, and sound, are interconnected. They feed off each other. A shift in rhythm can influence breath. Breath can create sound. Sound can reinforce rhythm. Together, they form a language of pleasure that is as rich and nuanced as spoken words, but far more immediate and authentic. Learning to notice these signals is not about controlling them. It is about observing, listening, and responding with awareness. They are gifts, natural signposts that tell you when someone is truly engaged and experiencing enjoyment. Another important aspect is that these indicators are deeply personal. Each person's rhythm, breath, and sound will be unique. There is no universal template. Authenticity lies in recognizing the individual's patterns and responding in tune with them. Trying to impose an external expectation or force a particular reaction interrupts this natural flow. Pleasure is not about performing for someone else. It is about aligning with their experience and honoring it. By paying attention to rhythm, breath, and sound, you cultivate attunement, a deep understanding of their internal state, without the need for verbal confirmation. These signals also provide feedback in real time. The moment something feels good, the body responds immediately. If something is uncomfortable, the body signals that too. It is dynamic, continuous, and informative. This feedback loop allows for adjustment, responsiveness, and mutual attunement. It is the body's way of communicating without words, providing guidance that, if observed attentively, can enhance the connection and deepen the experience. Books like Come As You Are and The Guide to Getting It on emphasize that human response is not just mechanical. It is deeply intertwined with emotional, cognitive, and relational context. Breath, rhythm, and sound are expressions of that context. They cannot be isolated from the overall experience because they emerge from a combination of physical sensation, emotional safety, trust, and presence. They are both indicators and amplifiers. When observed and honored, they create a feedback loop that increases authenticity, intensifies engagement, and heightens pleasure. Learning to read these indicators is also about patience and mindfulness. You cannot rush them or demand them. They appear when the mind is quiet, the body is comfortable, and the heart feels safe. Trying to interpret them superficially or treating them as a checklist diminishes their authenticity. True understanding comes from attentive observation, presence, and respect. It comes from noticing subtle changes in breath, adjustments in rhythm, and gentle variations in sound. These are the markers of genuine engagement, the signals that the experience is meaningful, enjoyable, and authentic. The beauty of rhythm, breath, and sound is that they are universal. They do not rely on language, culture, or performance. They are primal and instinctive, rooted in the body's natural capacity to respond to pleasure. And because they are honest, they serve as a compass in moments where words may fail or emotional cues may be subtle. They tell the truth before the conscious mind has the chance to filter or censor it. They are a form of communication older and more reliable than speech, and learning to tune into them transforms how we understand connection, intimacy, and mutual enjoyment. Finally, these indicators remind us that pleasure is not a singular act. It is an experience that unfolds over time, in waves, in layers. Breath, rhythm, and sound guide us through this experience. They mark the ebbs and flows, the highs and subtleties, the shifts in focus, intensity, and engagement. They reveal what feels good, what is moving, what is connecting. And when we pay attention to them, we step into a deeper understanding of human experience, a realm where authenticity reigns, connection deepens, and enjoyment becomes unmistakably visible. Communication, spoken and unspoken, deepens the experience, and it is the bridge between two people that transforms mere physical interaction into connection. Most people think of communication as words alone, but in truth, it is far richer than that. It is tone, it is timing, it is presence. It is the gentle adjustments in posture, the responsiveness to movements, the subtle acknowledgement of need without a single word being spoken. Unspoken communication is often the most profound because it operates beneath the surface, where authenticity lives and where true connection happens. Spoken communication, however, is equally powerful when it is intentional. Words are tools to convey respect, attention, and care. They can reassure, invite, or guide without pressure. A simple acknowledgement of a boundary, a question about comfort, or a gentle affirmation that she is being heard creates a space where the mind and body can relax. Words, when aligned with presence and respect, amplify the signals of enjoyment. They reinforce trust and create a rhythm between emotional and physical connection. But perhaps the most profound form of communication is the unspoken. It is the subtle cues the body sends, the glance that conveys interest or comfort, the small shift in posture that invites attention, the change in energy that signals receptiveness. Unspoken communication is continuous. It flows naturally in the moment. It is not rehearsed or forced. It is deeply instinctive, and it is the language the body understands most clearly. When spoken and unspoken communication are in harmony, the experience becomes seamless. There is no need for performance, no need for guessing. Each participant is tuned into the other's presence, their reactions, their comfort, their pleasure. This alignment allows the nervous system to relax, the mind to focus, and the body to respond naturally. It creates a feedback loop. Presence leads to trust, trust leads to authenticity, authenticity amplifies pleasure, and pleasure reinforces connection. Consider the role of mirroring in communication. Often, when people are truly engaged and enjoying an experience, their movements, rhythm, or tone naturally reflect each other. This unconscious mirroring is a form of nonverbal dialogue that deepens intimacy. It is a signal that both parties are attuned to each other, that they are present, that they are engaged. It is one of the most powerful forms of unspoken communication because it communicates empathy, connection, and understanding without a single word being uttered. Communication also requires attentiveness, listening not just to words, but to breathe, to rhythm, to the energy someone brings is critical. This listening allows for adjustments, for responsiveness, for attunement to the moment. It is an acknowledgement that pleasure is not a solo act but a shared journey. Observing subtle cues, responding to hesitation, noticing shifts in tension or relaxation. These are all forms of communication that deepen the experience and create authenticity. Books like Come As You Are and The Guide to Getting It on emphasize that understanding sexual experience is not just about technique. It is about the interplay of connection, communication, and context. When someone feels truly heard verbally and non-verbally, the body is more likely to respond fully, authentically, and with engagement. The experience becomes dynamic, flowing, and mutual. Communication transforms it from a series of actions into a dialogue of presence, pleasure, and trust. Importantly, communication is not about control. It is about responsiveness. It is about observing and honoring the other person's experience rather than trying to dictate or manipulate it. When you communicate in this way, you create emotional safety, which, as we discussed earlier, is foundational. Safety allows relaxation. Relaxation allows authentic reaction. And authentic reaction allows pleasure to emerge naturally. Communication is the thread that weaves all these elements together. Another key aspect is timing. Both spoken and unspoken cues require sensitivity to the moment. Rushing, interrupting, or speaking at the wrong time can disrupt the flow and break connection. The best communication is attuned to the rhythm of the experience, flowing naturally alongside it. It is subtle, responsive, and patient. It requires awareness and empathy, qualities that are essential to cultivating authentic connection. Even silence is a form of communication. It can be powerful, intimate, and affirming when present with attention. Shared silence, when experienced in the context of trust and presence, communicates comfort, understanding, and acceptance. It allows space for reflection, feeling, and internal engagement. Silence can be as expressive as words or gestures when it is attentive, intentional, and responsive. Communication also reinforces trust. When someone senses that their unspoken signals are noticed and honored, they feel validated. When their words are received without judgment, they feel understood. This validation strengthens connection, encourages authenticity, and heightens the experience for both parties. Trust and communication are interdependent. One reinforces the other. Without trust, communication falters. Without communication, trust cannot deepen. Finally, communication spoken and unspoken transforms intimacy into a shared journey rather than a mechanical exchange. It creates a space where attention, presence, responsiveness, and care converge. It amplifies emotional safety, encourages authentic reaction, and heightens the natural indicators of pleasure we discussed earlier: rhythm, breath, and sound. In essence, communication is the invisible current that carries the experience from ordinary to extraordinary. When you pay attention to these signals, when you listen, respond, and engage, you are not just participating in an act, you are co-creating a profound shared experience. Every glance, every breath, every subtle adjustment, every word, every pause communicates, and when aligned with respect and presence, it deepens the experience in ways that technique alone cannot achieve. Connection, trust, authenticity, emotional safety, rhythm, breath, sound, all of these are tied together by communication. It is the thread that links body, mind, and heart. It is the vehicle through which intimacy becomes meaningful. And when communication flows freely, naturally, and attentively, the experience becomes not only pleasurable but transformative, leaving both participants feeling seen, valued, and deeply connected. Before anyone ever says yes or no, before any sentence is formed, the body is already responding to what it feels, what it trusts, and what it enjoys. Pleasure, real pleasure, isn't loud in the way the world tries to make it seem. It isn't a performance. It's a surrender, and when a woman is truly enjoying an intimate experience, the signs are not hidden. They are obvious not because they are exaggerated, but because they are honest. The first sign is relaxation. A woman who feels safe, respected, and genuinely good in the moment does not brace herself. She does not tense her shoulders or hold her breath. Her body softens, her hands loosen, her movements become slow, fluid, natural. Enjoyment begins in safety, and safety begins with trust. Without that, nothing that happens afterward can ever be fully real. The most powerful response is not a dramatic one, it is a relaxed one. Relaxation says, I trust you, I am here, I am not trying to escape this moment, I am sinking into it. The second sign is real, involuntary reaction. You can fake words, you can fake expressions, but the body has its own language, one that cannot be controlled or rehearsed. When someone is truly enjoying themselves, their breathing shifts, it changes rhythm, sometimes it deepens, sometimes it becomes lighter. There is a natural responsiveness that can't be forced. These are not signals given for an audience. They happen without thinking. They happen because the brain and body are responding together, and that's important to understand. Real pleasure is not just physical, it's neurological, it's emotional, it's psychological. It's when the mind feels safe enough to let the body speak. The third sign is engagement. When enjoyment is real, it doesn't come with distance. There is connection. There is presence. There is a desire to stay in the moment, not rush past it. Small movements, subtle responses, gentle guidance, these are not instructions. They are invitations. They say, without words, yes, right here. This matters. This feels good. Books like The Art of Intimacy and Come As You Are remind us that a woman's pleasure is not automatic or mechanical. It is layered, connected to memory, stress, self-image, and emotional comfort. When she is enjoying an experience, it is not because of technique alone, it is because she feels seen, appreciated, and valued in that moment. The fourth sign is sound, but not the kind you see in movies. Real sounds of enjoyment are rarely dramatic. They are breaths, soft expressions, changes in tone, moments of silence followed by gentle response. They are unpolished and natural. Silence, in fact, can be one of the most powerful signs of pleasure. When the mind is fully immersed, it doesn't need to narrate the moment. It simply lives it, and that silence is not emptiness, it is presence. The fifth and final sign is what happens afterward. A woman who has truly enjoyed an experience does not pull away emotionally. There is warmth, there is openness, sometimes there is laughter, sometimes there is quiet intimacy, but there is always connection. There is no feeling of I need to escape this moment. There is a sense of closeness rather than separation. Because real pleasure doesn't just end, it transforms the space between two people, and the most important thing to understand is this: pleasure is never just about the act, it is about the energy, the patience, the attention, the care. It is about whether a person feels appreciated as a human being, not just as a body. If you want to be someone who brings real pleasure into a woman's life, stop focusing on what to do and start focusing on how she feels. Ask yourself, does she feel safe with me? Does she feel respected by me? Does she feel seen by me? Does she feel free to be her real self around me? Because when the answers to those questions are yes, the signs of her enjoyment won't need to be looked for. They will be impossible to miss.